I'd like to call upon Karen's subconscious, higher self, and anyone else that needs to support us today to get the highest of good information.
Yes, we are here with you.
Thank you so much. Are we able to give the body a scan and be able to balance and harmonize everything and energize this body for us?
Yes, we are doing a scan. She does need a little bit of a boost in energy. We have been doing that as you guys were talking. We've been scanning and helping her out in those areas. It will continue to do so. Other than that, she's pretty relaxed and everything is aligning up well.
Fantastic. Has she been going through energy upgrades? What can you tell us?
You all have been. The last several days, there have been extra upgrades to promote not healing, but we're getting you guys prepared to help others. So what you yourself needed, we have been healing. I will tell you that it wasn't done without your permission. Free will does play a role even in that. So when you are asleep, things are presented to you and you have the opportunity to accept or reject at that time. You will notice in your awake state certain symptoms. Hers has been fatigue in the evening hours. That's usually when she has more energy, but lately, no. Her upgrades, instead of coming during sleep, have been in her awake state when the sun is starting to rise. There has been more energy directed towards your planet, and that's why upgrades are coming in at that time for most. So if you're getting tired in the early afternoon to late afternoon, early evening hours, it's because you were upgraded in the mornings when the sun was coming up.
Thank you so much. Does make sense. It seems like more and more people are experiencing Ascension symptoms. They seem to have a various range of emotions about them, from being completely freaked out to confused to, yeah, all emotions. Do you want to remind us what's happening to the body and why?
When you notice differences in your physical body, your brain has been trained to fix things, but there's actually nothing to fix. They're simply upgrades. The signals that your brain gets back is, oh my God, I can't fix this. What am I going to do? So there's some type of a panic mode that people will experience. But rest assured, if what you are noticing changing in your body only lasts a couple hours to even a couple of days, it's simply an upgrade. You need to relax. Otherwise, your panic will snowball. And that could also trigger other symptoms that they don't need to exist, but your body will react to your mind. The symptoms I see lately that people are experiencing mostly is focused in the your head area. Your sinuses are more congested or heavy feeling. There's been a lot of release through sneezing and coughing. That is, it's clearing out of a lot of unwanted, unneeded particles that have collected around your crown chakra. The energies that are going to be coming in next will enter through that area. That's why they are being cleared out, to accept that energy and to hold it. You'll be able to utilize it easier once it's stored properly. Energy can sit heavy in certain parts of your body if they're not ready to receive them. Sometimes they won't enter at all. And we need all the upgrades to occur. This is preparing you mentally, actually, too, since it's coming through the crown chakra. You will not freak out as much. That will help you balance your emotions as well. So there's a lot coming for you, and it will be more pleasant than what you've experienced in the past. Some won't even notice the upgrades because they're going to be so smooth.
Thank you. So is it just those people who still have their crystalline bodies will feel the upgrades, or is it something completely different?
The next set of upgrades, like I said, will balance you emotionally. The ones that I just have to be straightforward. The ones that will not tolerate the upgrades are not mentally balanced anyway. I know that's kind of harsh to say, but it's accurate. The ones that I can just visualize them, they need to reach out to their team and say, hold my hand for this. And it will be easier for them. A lot of people are still in denial that they have a team. They almost feel like they're not deserving to have that support. But each and every one of us has that team. And the team loves you. So reach out to them, let them hold your hand through these trying times, because they don't have to be that harsh for you. Can you visualize? Yeah, can you visualize doing that with your team? Because once you can visualize it, you can do it. Just let it happen.
And for those people who just trust that everything that's happening to their body is natural and necessary, I guess that would also be a positive approach.
Yes. There's also some that as they age, they just write it off to, well, I'm just getting older. But a lot of the ailments that they face, like soreness or just aches and pains, they're actually upgrades. And the ones that, like I said, are aging with their body, they accept it as that, and they go through them easier because they stay in neutral. They don't try to label it or diagnose the symptom themselves.
For those who are staying on the old earth, would they be getting upgrades as well?
They do get energy just like everybody else on earth, because all the energy is directed to the whole planet. The ones that are staying here and it's in their contracts, they don't quite know how to metabolize certain energies. So some upgrades they do receive and some are blocked. Once they start down that other path where they're on old earth and not shifting, and they have realized the differences that have happened on earth, the changes that have happened on earth, they will start to awaken, and they will be able to readily receive or use some of the energies that they've stored. because there's going to be less energy coming in once the shift occurs. So the ones that have not used the energies and upgrades, they didn't accept them. If they were able to store them somehow in their body, they can access them later. I don't see very many that will be able to master that, though. It'll be very few.
Thank you. I really appreciate understanding that more. So in terms of a shift, is it still going to be that the laser event is still going to be the same day that most people will be shifting, or is it something else?
Currently, that event was moved further down the timeline to coincide with the first shift. There'll be different levels. That may not be the word, different stages. There we go. That the shift will occur. And we're viewing right now the first stage is when the laser will hit Earth. That does need to be experienced. It's an exit point for several. I see other events, though, around the world. They don't happen at the exact same time, but there's going to be a period in the next month or two that seems very, very chaotic. There's just too many things that are going to be happening. I mean, right now we just see natural disasters, but there's also going to occur man-made disasters. And those are the ones that will really capture the attention of the populace and to wake up the ones that have been resisting, and they've been resisting the truth. They don't like to think they live on a planet that is so terrible, but they do. And it will shake, it'll shake many awake what's to come. And one of them is that laser event, because it is a failure on mankind's part. It has nothing to do with nature or Earth or Gaia. There's going to be more riots. They're trying to implement, and I talk about governments, they're trying to implement deep-seated rules. Those rules are to control. And the population doesn't want that control anymore. They've lived through it for many, many months. They want normal back, but normal is hard to define. It's changed too much. And what you knew 2 years ago will never be that way again. Not on this planet. Not on any planet. Once people shift from here, that normal will be left behind. And there's too much more to experience and enjoy. The traumas that you experienced here will soon be forgotten.
Thank you so much. In terms of those riots and protests, what would your perspective be? Actually, I'd like to call on a representative of the Palladians. What would your advice be about rioting and protesting at this time?
You can't win this type of battle with violence. It's more of a spiritual battle that you're actually fighting. We do observe and understand that the many restraints that are being placed on you has created strong emotions. Those emotions come out in anger a lot of times. People start the demonstrations with peace and even manners, but they develop into the violence always because of the authorities that try to control them present them with the violence themselves. It's not a battle that we're going to win. They have the manpower, they have the weaponry, they have ways to control humanity. That's not it's not nice. I'm seeing like fires, and I'm seeing guns being shot, and I'm seeing canisters with smoke flying everywhere. That's what I'm being shown. Those riots will have purpose. It will incite others in different cities to take action as well, but they will be met with the same fate. It's just total chaos that we're showing her on this timeline right now. It's going to be sporadic in different areas, more so in larger cities. It looks like people won't even be able to, they won't even have peace at night, like when they're used to relaxing at home with their families. Somebody's going to always have to be on guard. This does occur between stages, what I've described, between the first stage and the second stage. So the ones that exit on the first stage, they have a more peaceful departure. They live through less of the chaos. The ones that are here until the second stage of the shift, they wanted to, of course, experience more fear because that's what they will go through. They also wanted to experience being a protector because that's the mode you're going to be in. You're going to protect everyone around you, including yourself. I see that in most of the men, especially that stay behind. They wanted that role.
Thank you so much. So do you get a sense of why people would be rioting?
I can be very candid. They're fed up and they're pissed off. They've had enough. They want their lives back. They want their normal back. But normal is definitely gone. They're not in panic mode, but they're in survival mode. And that has promoted their boldness to face the opposing forces, which is the authority. And it's not like they don't care anymore. They care greatly. They feel no other choice than to fight back. And that causes the riots to develop into violence. Most people, the weaker ones, it's almost like survival of the fittest. But the weaker humans, they hide at home. And it's just not a good situation, but it is very short-lived. Otherwise, yeah, there would be contracts that weren't completed. So a lot of the events from the riots are going to be cut short, it appears. It's not that we intervene, but we do expedite the second stage of the shift. That's the only part that we can do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And in terms of the laser, do you still see it occurring at the same location that you showed Karen in another session, or has that changed as well?
No, I am still showing her that it goes, I can be more descriptive. It starts around north of the Great Lake, Michigan, on the Canada side, and it heads towards the southwest. So it cuts through the middle of the United States, and it's more south by southwest. It's not exactly southwest, because where it ends up in Mexico is somewhere towards kind of like west of Belize, but not quite that far south. So it's at a diagonal cut. This laser is, it's more of a malfunction from a satellite, but nobody even knew there was a laser aboard that satellite. That's kind of out of protocol.
Thank
And
you.
it wasn't a scientific department that put that there. It wasn't even a government. It was a private party. The weird thing is, there is so much junk that orbits Earth, space junk. I don't know, some might find this funny. I don't even know why I'm showing her this. But there is somebody's car, a car, that was placed in orbit around Earth as a joke. So these rich individuals play jokes amongst themselves. And it's almost like the laser was placed on that satellite as a joke. And that's why it accidentally goes off, because nobody's really monitoring it. Humans are strange.
How hard is it to monitor and observe humans?
It's not hard at all. We've had so many projects. Other species that we've observed are more docile, almost boring. Humans are very interesting, actually, and they do have humor, and they give us great joy sometimes and great sadness at other times. But it's easy to predict their actions. It's been one of our most favorable projects. We've learned so much that we can apply in other places. So as far as observing and understanding humanity, it's been a great joy. And there's been so much love and support that we've provided as well. We don't view this planet as a failure. I know that sometimes when we speak about disasters or unkindness, or we try to push you into doing your own work and loving yourself, it might seem like we are giving up, but we've never given up. This has been one of our favorite places to be and to help and support.
Well, that's nice, since you've been here for so much longer than you had planned.
Yes, I I know that you've been told that you should view each and every day as a bonus day. A day for you, you count in hours and minutes and seconds. Our time is measured differently and it expands differently. I would not be able to gracefully display the difference in your time and how it's measured and what really exists for us. So when you say we've been here a long time, yes, we've been here a very long time. And not one, as you would say, minute has been wasted. Everything had its purpose. I don't want to talk in the past tense, sorry. Everything does have its purpose.
Thank you so much. We do understand and accept that it is hard to communicate with us when we are so diligently wanting to be loyal to our own sense of time that we must try to influence other species to be able to clarify what we understand in reference to how long you've been here for. So we get it, we understand. Thank you. A question about I have lots of different questions, so I'm just going to ask you to confirm or deny. Is it true that clones cannot go to the fifth dimension?
That is true.
I was directed to watch a video of a woman who was saying that she was trying to have she was in great danger because someone was trying to take her consciousness, put it into a clone and send her to the fifth dimension. It felt very questionable. What do you get a sense about that woman's agenda?
You cannot put a consciousness into a fabricated body. That is a creational role through birth, that the conscious enters a vessel. So you can't you can't hijack somebody's consciousness and put it into an inanimate object. So, and that's what a clone is. It is designed to replicate a human vessel and to animate a human vessel. But that's as far as it goes. It's not a living organic machine. It's not that. It cannot contain the consciousness, for one thing. A clone can't even go to the fourth dimension, let alone the fifth. Does that answer those questions, since I know you had many more?
Yes. Do you get a sense of what her agenda is, why she is doing these desperate YouTube videos?
Feels like theatrics and notoriety. It's a fabulous story. It's compelling and it will draw many ears. And that's what I'm seeing with that one.
Does it create fear or sympathy for her?
There's many emotions that roll around this one. Some even find it humorous. But the support I'm seeing majority have is it's fear. It's like, oh my God, can that happen to me? I don't want that to happen to me. That cannot happen to you. As long as you stay balanced and have your team, they will tell you themselves. You will know you have the answers already. That cannot happen to you.
Okay, thank you. In terms of lockdowns, my country is in a full lockdown at the moment. Is there another purpose for us being locked down apart from just doing our inner work? Is it somewhat connected to us being safe and not congregating in like a city township of buildings or something?
the lockdowns that you're experiencing, we didn't promote them, but they will benefit you. I cannot share what is going to happen in the near future, but I do see preparations should be made. I'm just getting a void now. I don't see anything past that.
Okay. Well, we will make preparations, and they will be made. So thank you so much. We know. We just wanted. I just was curious. I got the sense that potentially there was some sort of threat or a plan to maybe do some sort of false attack or some sort of fake terrorist, whatever. And I was just wondering if we were trying to be kept at home for our safety for that purpose versus to do our inner work and focus on our loved ones.
I'm getting a notion of a man that's of higher. He's a higher being, and he has knowledge, but he can't share it publicly. He's influenced your government into this lockdown. He's done it for your safety and your protection. But the man is he's of goodwill. He's had, it seems like, visions, and he knows what's coming up, and he's trying to protect your area, the people in your area, and that's why he's influenced the government to do these lockdowns. Because if you're at home in your familiar surroundings, you are more able to react, to go to the safe places that you know you can go to. I just see that there might be people fleeing in fear. It feels like more of a natural disaster that he's been given a vision of. We can talk more about this later. That's all they're going to give me for now, they say.
That's fine. Thank you very much. In terms of Afghanistan and the agenda there right now for the Americans to focus on, and also the world to be aware of this approach again, does this have any insight into the disclosures about what we call the event of September 11th and the attack there?
It will bring up emotions because of the militia that was blamed for that attack. There is, it's not as raw, of course, since so much time has gone by. They're not going to get the effect that they were hoping for. But yes, it was brought to the surface to trigger people into fear again. Like I said, that wound is healed greatly. The public won't react as harshly as they thought they would. That fear is not going to take hold. They will try to promote fear in another way again.
Will the information about September 11 and those attacks come out and be disclosed?
No, they will not. They haven't been disclosed. The truth hasn't been disclosed because it can still be used as a tool to promote the fear that they're trying to do now. There might even be more stories to trigger people's memories about what happened that day coming out into the media. They're not going to be that effective either. Like I said, the wounds have healed. They will not, they won't succeed like they want to in that fear factor. They spend a lot of money, the powers to be, they spend a lot of money on generating this theme, but it's going to flop. It's going to flop like a bad movie in a box office.
Okay, so that's their agenda to incite fear again and remind people of those terrorist attacks in quotation marks.
Yes.
On the flip side, will more people know that it was something else, or have everyone who needs to awaken up to that already know that?
The ones that wanted to awaken to the information have. They, those, what they call conspiracies and conspiracy theorists that have shared their information and findings from research throughout the years. There's many, many videos and articles on your internet that would support actual facts. A lot of those facts are ignored because most humans really don't want to believe how horrible reality can be. It's hard for them to accept. So they just turn their heads. And the ones that wanted the truth and found the truth and tried to share the truth, they laid down their arms in frustration. You can only teach so much. And if they don't want to pick up the information, there's nothing more you can do with the student. I know that you guys have friends and family that you feel that way about when it comes to being awake to bigger things and being educated on shifting. I'm sure that you feel that frustration as well.
I feel neutral about it, but I also know that many people are very frustrated that the truth hasn't come out. So angry, so pissed off, and just they're really consumed with the fact that the truth hasn't come out about that. I was hoping for them to get some closure from that, but I guess that is their inner work that they must release now.
You're so very right about that. Part of their truth in their life and what they wanted to explore and receive, it doesn't match up with everybody else's. So it became embedded, almost an obsession. And once you have an obsession on what truth you've lived, it turns into an attachment that's hard to release. Once you find your balance, then you find being neutral. At that time, those frustrations and conflicts and anger and even abuse sometimes that you went through, you can release all of that. That was a part of your lessons that you went through that you can, of course, apply later. It has benefited us to even observe the trials that some people went through with that. We've met many conflicts other than here on planet Earth. I have found that sometimes forcing the truth backfires. People have to learn it on their own. And like I said, everybody develops their own truth.
Yes, and as we know, even within collectives, they have their own different truths as well, which is important for them.
Yes, and conflicts do arise from that as well. But we don't riot. We approach them with love, and we're very level-headed, sharing our own truth with other collectives. That is something very hard to accomplish. in a 3D realm, but you'll master it in the 5D because it's all about love and learning and sharing and growth.
Well, we can just ask for all that need to release anything that no longer serves them to be able to just accept what they need to focus on now and release, release, release.
Yes, we try to encourage release. A lot of times that is blocked. There's a big stumbling block in front of you because some people are really so passionate about their truth and conveying it and convincing others. Once you can accept everybody has the right to think, experience, and have their own truth, and you cannot infringe on it, as you've used in other sessions, the bulldozer effect is not very effective. People dig in their heels when they feel like they're being controlled or manipulated or pushed. So the best way to release starts with yourself. And then I think I got off track here. Sorry. Where were we headed with this?
It was a nice reminder to ask everyone to release anything that's still bothering them or still agitating them and find their neutral imbalance and acceptance.
Yes, that it's a hard exercise, but you get better at it with practice. Acceptance is plays a very big role in releasing, and even being non-judgmental helps you release.
Acceptance creates that inner peace, and that gives people instant joy and then can raise their vibrations. Is that correct?
Yes, and also acceptance creates understanding. And when you have a greater understanding, your perspective can change. And then, of course, releasing is so much easier.
Absolutely. Yes. Fantastic. We did have questions about Hopi. I believe I'm completely clueless to who they are, but we kept getting these messages. I think I've said it right, and that it is part of an indigenous Indian group. Am I correct in that?
Yes, you are. They inhabited the southwest of the United States. They've lived many generations in that area. Their population isn't as great as it used to be, but their folklore, which is actually reality from the past, has been told from generation to generation. They've held on to their beliefs and cultures and knowledge and shared it with their offspring. A lot of what they've been given definitely came from off-planet visitors. They didn't choose to use the technology they were offered, but they were somewhat shown how timelines would go. It wasn't like how timelines were bent or manipulated. It was more what happened on these timelines. So they had knowledge of the future. But the difference with the Hopi is they still chose to live their beliefs and their lifestyles. Most of them maintain their culture and their habits. They learned of resets. They called them something else. They called them worlds. or different earths, and they feel they're living in the fourth world now. So that would mean they lived through 3 resets here on Earth. They're not as strong is not the word. They're not as, I guess I'll use it. They're not as strong as they were when it comes to their ability to communicate with people outside of their own culture. They keep their secrets close to their chest. It seems like they don't share as much information as they once did. They were ridiculed and actually harmed in physical ways because of some of their stories and beliefs. So they learned to not share with what's outside of their own world, their own culture and community. They do know that something else is coming very soon. They view it as another reset, but there won't be another reset on Earth. This will be the curtain call.
I see. And so do you have any insight into why, I know Karen knows someone that was aware of them recently, and I was aware of them recently. Do you understand or can give us insights into why we were made aware of them recently?
I think that we are supposed to not journey back, but do a little research on their culture. I have all that knowledge, but for some reason, Karen is supposed to find out more about their past because it will tell her more about her future. And you were shown a sign, so it would be brought up into a session, and that will prompt others also to dig into their history. There is a lot there, and it will. I'm not going to say warning signs. There are hints that will be helpful if you pay attention to the signs and the literature that you read.
Fantastic. Thank you. It does seem like a lot of Indigenous folklore and cultures and those who are still very connected to the land are fully aware of the cycle this earth is moving forward to. Is that correct?
Yes, they do view it on a more simplistic level. They're not on key. They're not keen on the thought of ships. They really think there's going to be another reset. This tribe anyway does. There are other cultures around the world that have different beliefs as well. There's even some forgotten tribes in Africa that have so much information. And when I say forgotten, they don't have outside contact at all.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So intriguing. So while we have balance and neutral in our current events, we can explore these other this other information to see what else we can find, understanding that while we have labels and terms in our sessions for the shift and the events moving forward, other cultures may have analogies that are different, which have different labels and terms, and they may not have all of the bigger information and perspectives, but will this be confirmation that this has been foretold in many cultures?
Yes, you would be correct in that. But I would encourage you to delve into more of the history of some of these tribes that I didn't even mention any of their names, but they do exist. The Hopi is a good place to start. They had more contact, so they have more information that was left with them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I didn't mention this to Karen earlier, but I am going to be asking you now. There was a woman that I watched a video press conference on. She wanted to tell people that she had a connection with what I would assume is inner earth people. And she got information about the changes that are going to take place on this planet and for humanity. And she was using the press conference to alert people that she had experienced this, and that she was calling now on other professionals in the ET or the paranormal, whatever they want to call themselves, people to go with her to go into this tunnel to be able to connect in with high dimensional beings within the earth, to be able to have a formal meet and greet. And she wants this to be public, and she wants this to be in the next few weeks. What would you like us to know about this experience and what will be occurring?
Do you know what portal that I'm viewing it's up by Nova Scotia, possibly. Is she the inner earth occupants are very shy. They don't normally like to be made public. If those meetings do occur, they will be very secret. If she wants to promote the information that she learns, it won't be shared in front of a camera. That won't be allowed. The beings in inner earth are very well aware of the path this planet is taking. They've also made their preparations. They're not going to New Earth. I know people are always curious about that. We have helped them find a new home. It's not in this galaxy. You would refer to them as troll-looking people. They originated from, there was a gateway through Orion they came through, and it was on an exploration, but they didn't have the means to go back home. So they stayed here and made this their home, and they've been here for several millenniums, and they've always been peaceful, and they didn't. I'm getting off track. I'm telling you more about them than meetings, aren't I? But they have agreed to do meetings, but they won't do it publicly, and they don't want a lot of fanfare. They will share their plans at that time, and that's all I can reveal to you right now.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to let you know that she was describing them as crystalline bodies, that she was able to, I think, sense their energies. I think she wanted to touch them, but I don't recall if she actually did touch them. And that
I'm not seeing any crystalline bodies that aren't either attached to a carbon-based body or waiting in stasis on a ship. There's no crystalline bodies that are in inner earth.
Would she then just see like a light body, if that's another label that we want to throw in here?
there are guardians that are light bodies down there, but it's not the whole society. And that's when you ask the question, I picked up this other species instead. That's what came into view. But there are protectors that are light bodies that are down there. But their role, they're not concerned about leaving this planet. They know their exit, and they know when their job is up here.
Do you get a sense of what collective she works for or is working with?
Yes, it would have been the Octurian.
And then when she was taken through that portal, was she taken onto a ship within the earth or somewhere else?
Somewhere else. It was a portal on Earth that went into inner Earth, but she didn't enter a ship. I don't think she even viewed a ship. I don't understand her whole agenda.
Thank you. Well, yes, it was very intriguing that she was calling upon professionals to come and they were going to have a meeting. It felt like she wanted to have disclosures. She was doing what she was being told. And I just found it very extraordinary. And I'm so sorry. And I do know that Karen has no idea, even the woman, because we didn't even mention it prior, but it just, while I've got you on the phone, I just thought I would ask out of curiosity. So thank you for that. It was intriguing. And I guess we get to see in a few weeks, if we're still here, what the information is that she wants to hear.
It's very hard to mention dates and timelines and not get people either excited or depressed. That's why they are hidden. But when you say a few weeks, it is the events will start happening, yes, within a few weeks. I will confirm that. But when I show her a few weeks, I also see a calendar page flipping. So a few weeks could be 2 to 6. And that's all I can disclose right now.
Absolutely. And we understand that it's more logical for us to just to know that Gaia has certain codes and that we're working through the 18th process of this, and we're not fixated on dates or anything like that. We understand that heaps of things need to unfold in perfect timing.
Correct. When you speak of codes, and you were instructed that you were living the 18th code now, I'm trying to discern how many more codes are left. There are different timelines, it looks like, are supporting, like the one that we're talking on now. It looks like there's possibly, it's an odd number because usually everything ends differently, but it looks like the 23 codes exist here. I feel that we're closer to that number than 18. And the codes represent different events is what she's being shown. So there's possibly 4 more events before the first shift occurs. They look like they coincide with each other. It's very interesting looking.
Would those 4 events, would they look like bigger natural disasters or disclosures or something else?
It is a mixed bag. There are a couple of natural disasters. There's also the the man-made event that we talked of earlier that will happen right when the first shift occurs. That's one's an earthquake, one's the laser event, as you call it. And I don't see people very interested in disclosures. They've been numbed to the news and all the stories and BS that they've lived through in the last several years, that what they see physically will be more important to them. And those are the events that are counted in the codes.
Thank you. It's all very interesting, and we are so balanced and so neutral that we are just happy to let things just unfold as they need and accept all and release anything that is potentially and could be bothering us, because we're just so mature now.
There's really nothing to worry about. You're very safe. You're very protected. I know that when you hear of all this chaos and bad news, that's not your true reality. And I know you have to approach your daily life that way and respect the things that you sense physically through, sight and hearing and touch. But apart from this planet, reality is much different, and you're very protected, even though you may have gone through so many traumas that you don't think you'll ever get through them or recover from them. You will. You will learn to have your neutrality, share your love, all these things that you feel you're blocked from. They all come back to you, every one of them. These experiences here, that's all they are. They don't harm you. They help you grow. It's kind of like falling and skidding your knee. Next time, don't try to hop the curb with your bike.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for still being able to give us some giggles. We do appreciate it. Finally, last public question. The 22nd of August seems to still be a big number for all those big influencers who think that they are giving people great information to prepare them for whatever needs to be prepared. So tell us, what will Karen experience on the 22nd of this month?
Well, actually, that's tomorrow for her. She will have a very energetic day. She got to spend this session with, her team and you, which always spins her life into a very positive direction. Other than that, it will be uneventful. There's nothing out of the ordinary that's going to happen in her area. It'll be just calm and relaxing and blissful for her.
And so what about for the rest of the people that are bracing themselves and preparing themselves for something big to occur on the 22nd of August? I have no idea what they're talking about, but people keep asking me what's happening on that date. So is there something big that we need to be aware of?
I don't even see a meteor shower. No, there might be extra energy that buffers your planet caused by, stronger solar winds. But other than that, I don't see anything that's going to be disastrous or newsworthy.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. We will be neutral anyway, regardless of whatever may or may not happen. So,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Is there any final messages that you want people to know?
Not at this time. We did cover a lot. everybody is still enjoying their lives, I hope. And great growth and expansion will come to all. Everybody we will eventually be out of this 3D density. It's all about love. And please pass it on and share that.
Thank you so much. Fully loving the 3D for all the lessons and experiences that it has provided. So we do appreciate that.